Welcome to the Federal Financial Reporting Made Easy Step-by-Step Guide Learning Series, presented by the Office of Conservation Investment Training Team. Prior to viewing this video, please watch our tutorial on completing the SF425. In this video, we'll demonstrate how a recipient of a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Financial Assistance Award can accurately complete the transaction section, specifically fields 10D through 10O, of their final federal financial report. Before we jump into our scenario, let us first introduce the 5-step process we will be using to determine the information needed to complete the SF425. The amounts used are based upon the amounts listed in the Notice of Award and the actual expenditures upon completion of the award period of performance. Step 1. The recipient adds the value of any applicable third-party in-kind contributions to the total amount of direct and indirect costs charged to the award. Step 2. The recipient removes any overmatch from the adjusted outlays calculated in Step 1. The term overmatch refers in general to those costs that exceed the federal award amount but were still necessary and reasonable for completion of the award objectives and activities. Step 3. The recipient takes the adjusted outlays from Step 2 and subtracts the total program income earned during the award period of performance. Important in this step is that the program income is subtracted only when there is a federal component. Any program income earned using the cost share method is not subtracted in this step. Step 4. The recipient calculates the federal share of expenditures as well as any applicable recipient cost share amounts by multiplying the adjusted outlays from Step 3 by the federal and cost share percentages of the award. And Step 5. The recipient calculates the share of their expenditures by adding the overmatch amount from Step 2 plus the recipient share of any deductive and additive program income to the recipient share amount determined from Step 4. This video scenario is suited for a recipient who receives a service award that includes a mandatory recipient cost sharing requirement, no third-party in-kind contributions, and program income earned during the award period of performance. Let's get started. In this scenario, a recipient receives a federal award with a mandatory cost share requirement of 25%. The total award amount is $410,000. The federal share of the award is $300,000, or 75% of the total project cost. The recipient provides the remaining $100,000, or 25% of the total project cost. The recipient has anticipated that they will earn $10,000 in program income during the award and has indicated that they will treat the program income additively, meaning that the program income earned will be applied to eligible project costs, adding to the amount of work and total expenditures the recipient will incur on the overall project. We see this reflected in the total approved award amount of $410,000, which is equal to the federal share plus the recipient cost share plus the anticipated additive program income. Upon completion of the project, the recipient has charged a total of $435,000 in direct and indirect project-related costs to the award. There were no third-party in-kind contributions applied to the award. Additionally, $10,000 in program income was earned during the award period of performance. It is important to note that additive program income includes both a federal share and a recipient share because of the cost share requirement for this award. The split is determined by federal and cost share percentages of the award. The federal share percentage is applied to the total amount of program income earned, or $10,000, to get the federal share of program income, or $7,500. The recipient share is similarly calculated as 25% of the total program income, or $2,500. Next, let's walk through how the recipient calculates the values to enter on their award final federal financial report. The first step is for the recipient to add the value of any applicable third-party in-kind contributions to the total amount of direct and indirect costs charged to the award. Since there were no third-party in-kind contributions, the adjusted outlays remain $435,000. In Step 2, the recipient removes any overmatch from the adjusted outlays. In this scenario, overmatch includes those costs charged to the award in excess of the total approved award amount of $410,000. The $25,000 in additional costs incurred by the recipient is considered overmatch and is removed in Step 2. In Step 3, the recipient takes the adjusted outlays from Step 2 and subtracts the total amount of program income that was earned during the award period of performance. In this scenario, additive program income was earned, therefore we subtract $10,000 from the adjusted outlays to get $400,000. In Step 4, the recipient calculates the federal share of expenditures by multiplying the adjusted outlays by the award federal and cost share percentages. The federal share of the award is 75% and the recipient has a mandatory 25% cost sharing requirement. To determine the federal share of expenditures, the recipient multiplies the adjusted outlays from Step 3 by 0.75. The resulting federal share of expenditures is $300,000. The required cost share is determined by multiplying the same adjusted outlays from Step 3 by 0.25 to get $100,000. Finally, in Step 5, the recipient calculates their share of expenditures by adding the overmatch amount from Step 2 plus the 25% recipient share of program income to the $100,000 required cost share amount determined from Step 4. This results in a total recipient share of $127,500. From these 5 steps, the recipient has everything they need to accurately complete fields 10D through 10O of their final federal financial report. Fields 10D through 10H provide information about the expenditure of federal funds and any remaining unspent balance of federal funds as of the reporting period end date. For 10D, the recipient identifies the total federal funds authorized. This amount is $300,000 and comes directly from Field 11M, Federal Share, on the Grant Solutions Notice of Award. Field 10E represents the federal share of expenditures. This amount is $300,000 and comes from Step 4, where the recipient calculated the federal share of award expenditures. Field 10F represents the federal share amount of any recipient unspent obligations. Since this is a final federal financial report and our scenario states that the award is completed, this amount is 0. In Field 10G, the recipient adds the values in both 10E and 10F to get the total federal share of $300,000. Lastly, in Field 10H, the recipient reports any unspent federal funds remaining at the end of the award. This amount is determined by subtracting the value in 10G from the value in 10D. The recipient expended all the federal funds, so this amount is 0. Fields 10I through 10K provide information about the recipient share of expenditures and any remaining recipient share to be provided as of the reporting period end date. For 10I, the recipient identifies the total recipient share required. This amount is $100,000 and comes from Field 11N on the Grant Solutions Notice of Award. Field 10J represents the recipient share of the expenditures. This amount is $127,500 and comes from Step 5, where the recipient calculated the overmatch plus the recipient share of program income. Field 10K represents the remaining recipient share to be provided. This amount is determined by subtracting the value in 10J from the value in 10I. The remaining recipient share to be provided is 0, although the straight calculation may indicate a value of negative $27,500. In either case, this indicates that no additional recipient share needs to be provided. Fields 10L through 10O provide information about the federal share of program income earned under the award as of the reporting period end date. The grant program in this scenario has a 25% cost share requirement, which extends to any additive or deductive program income under the award. For Field 10L, the recipient identifies the total federal program income earned. This amount is $7,500 and comes from multiplying the total federal program income earned by 0.75. Field 10M represents the amount of the federal share of program income that was treated deductively. In this scenario, the entire federal share of program income was treated additively, so 10M is 0. Field 10N represents the amount of the federal share of program income that was treated additively. Since the recipient had sufficient additional expenditures to apply all of their earned program income additively, this amount is $7,500. Field 10O represents the unexpended federal program income. This amount is 0 and comes from subtracting lines 10M and 10N from line 10L. We hope this example video was helpful in your completion of the SF425. For additional SF425 examples, please see the other videos in this series.